Hey guys, what is up? Mr. Code Shorts here, and today we're going to be looking at strings in Python. Recently did a video about all of the different data types in Python, and I want to go more in depth on strings. So, if you'll look here, I've set a variable equal to multiple different strings, each different variable. That way it is easy for us to go through, and let's get started with a double quote string. Strings in Python can be denoted by either double quotes, as I have here, or single quotes. Both of these are perfectly acceptable ways to define a string. However, depending on what you're doing, it may be more common to see one or the other. Generally, most strings that at least I've seen are double quotes. However, there are some that are single quotes. There really is no difference except in very, very limited scenarios, defining constants and things like that. So both of them can be used. They're perfectly valid. Both are perfectly valid ways to define a string. However, the one big thing to note is that they cannot be mixed while defining one string. So you cannot use a single quote to start and a double quote to finish. They have to match. The next major type of strings are multi-line strings, and they sound exactly like what they are. This is where you use 3 double quotes or 3 single quotes to open and close the string, and it allows for multiple lines and more of a formatting type of deal. Up here with the single line strings, there isn't really much formatting. However, down here in the multi-line string, they can be easily formatted using your usual tab or space or that sort of change of format device, say, on the keyboard. These are used to print the same. They're both valid strings, both the single line and the multi-line, and multi-lines can be however many lines you want, up to some very high number in the multiple thousands or hundreds of thousands. So generally, they do not ever run out, per se. Another thing that's very interesting about strings is that they are iterable. If you don't know what I mean by iterable, it means that you can select a particular place in the string, and you can go through those places. So, like here, this is the way that you would call that out. So right here, I'm trying to print this string, the iterable string, and then I want to print the very first place. Iterables always start with 0 because when dealing with computers, you count starting from 0. So 0 in this case for this string would be t. So strings are iterable. This is a big deal. Some common methods that are used upon the strings are the strip method. This gets rid of extra space on the end and on the front of the string. This is useful for taking in passwords and things like that, where you don't want a lot of space on the front and back of it. Another common function that is used with strings is the len function. This just gives the length as an integer. So if you say you needed a requirement of so many characters and a password, this would be a way to figure that out. And then finally is concatenation. And concatenation is basically a big long word that means putting 2 strings together. And we do this with a plus sign in Python. This is not a plus sign like in math where you add. This is concatenation. So if I go up here in VS Code and run this program, we'll see that it prints the single quote string, prints a double quote string, then a single quote string, as we had up here, prints the multi-line string, and then it prints the iterable string index of 0, and then I have it to loop through the iterable string, and you can see it prints it here. Then we print a double quote string again, which is stripped. However, there were no spaces on the end. And then you can see the length of the standard string double here. And then this is the concatenation of 2 strings, and as you can see, they are simply 2 put together. Alright guys, go out there, get using strings and all of these different methods that are available to you. And remember to like and subscribe and come back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Central for a new Code Shorts video.